Visit our YouTube channel at Max TV. Click on the subscribe button and be the first to get notifications on our uploads.
And now away from COVID-19 reports. In recent weeks, opponents of the ongoing forensic audit of the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) have flooded the media with publications denigrating the process and accusing the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Akpabio, of high-handedness. This report, correspondent Chika Bodozie takes a look at the genesis of the ongoing probe into the activities of the NDDC as well as the role of Senator Akpabio, whose ministry supervises the intervention agency.
Lately, there has been a sustained campaign to discredit the ongoing probe into activities of the NDDC. The campaign is possibly sponsored by desperate individuals connected to the high-level mismanagement and maladministration of the NDDC in the last 20 years. The campaigners have also launched ferocious attacks on Senator Akpabio, Honorable Minister of Niger Delta Affairs and arrowhead of the forensic audit on NDDC. In their quest to dent his image and have him consigned to political irrelevance, Akpabio's detractors have accused him of high-handedness and diversion of funds meant to develop the Niger Delta region. The former Senate minority leader is also alleged to have arrogated to himself the role of supervising the NDDC and ensuring that the substantive board is not appointed to pilot affairs of the commission. Weighted on bare facts, all such allegations are unverifiable and misleading. Contrary to claims by sponsors of the anti-Akpabio campaign that the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs orchestrated a forensic audit to intimidate and harass perceived opponents, it was actually part of President Buhari's comprehensive intervention into the plight of the Niger Delta under his new vision for the region. It will be recalled that President Buhari ordered a forensic audit of the NDDC from its inception in 2001 to 2019, shortly after meeting with governors of the 9 Niger Delta states on October 10, 2019. After the governors unanimously passed a vote of no confidence in the NDDC, it became incumbent on President Buhari to probe what is now generally known and referred to as a cesspool of corruption in the Niger Delta. Ever since, the president had left no one in doubt that his intention was to restore sanity in the NDDC. According to him, the forensic audit exercise was already yielding desired results prior to its actual commencement, as some unscrupulous NDDC directors and contractors were beginning to return proceeds of their loot to the federal government.
To date, the EFCC and other agencies of government have recovered over 3.7 billion naira in cash, as well as various assets worth billions of naira from some contractors and some directors of the Commission. Furthermore, I am told that government agencies have placed liens on over 6 billion naira of assets which are being investigated.
For the avoidance of doubt, Senator Akpabio's appointment as Minister of the Niger Delta Affairs was strategic. After several months of shopping for the right candidate with a proven ability to change the ugly narrative in the Niger Delta, President Buhari finally settled for Senator Akpabio, hence his appointment in August 2019. Mr. President's choice was clearly defined by merit rather than political expediency. Before he ventured into partisan politics in 2001, Senator Akpabio was a successful lawyer who was able to prove his mettle in the corporate world. As a product of an entrepreneurial ecosystem, the immediate past governor of Akwa Ibom State had introduced many innovations in the governance of his states. By dint of hard work and foresight, Akpabio was able to transform a relatively backward state into a destination of choice for local and foreign investors. In accusing Senator Akpabio of meddling into affairs of the NDDC, opponents of the current move to restructure the commission are simply being economical with the truth. Even before Senator Akpabio was appointed Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, the NDDC had been under the supervision of the ministry, while Pastor Usani, the immediate past minister, held sway. It was on account of inadequate supervision, giving rise to monumental graft in the system, that President Buhari entrusted its supervisory role to the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. Mr. President had also taken further steps to ensure proper monitoring of the NDDC activities by ordering a forensic audit on the commission. In February 2020, he set up a presidential monitoring committee led by Senator Akpabio to keep a close watch on the commission's activities, and went on to further activate the NDDC Advisory Committee on March 10, 2020. The NDDC Advisory Committee, comprising governors of the 9 states in the Niger Delta and 2 other officials appointed by the President, is empowered by Section 11 of the NDDC Act to advise the board and closely monitor the Commission's projects and programs. In spite of its crucial role to the efficient management and administration of the NDDC, the advisory committee had been dormant until President Buhari's intervention.
The NDDC has already a master plan of the region, which was done sometime, and it is only when they work with the states and the states have inputs and they also understand what the states are doing, that we can truly ensure that the master plan is actually followed through to the letters, working collaboratively.
Senator Akpabio appears unruffled by the campaign to discredit the ongoing reforms in the NDDC and bring him into disrepute. He has since vowed to carry out the assignment entrusted to him by President Buhari with all sense of diligence.
I'm a Niger Delta, and I believe in Niger Delta, and I believe that God put us in Niger Delta to make a difference. I had the opportunity of being a governor in Niger Delta, and I left my mark behind. Until tomorrow, nobody can deny the fact that there was uncommon transformation in Akpabio State. It is my determination to ensure that Mr. President's vision for the Niger Delta is realized in these few years remaining, and we are in a hurry. We need to work together to make sure that that region changes.
So far, no fewer than 30 directors have been redeployed from the corporate headquarters of the NDDC in Port Harcourt to the Commission's state offices. Their redeployment clearly is to protect the process of the forensic audit from undue interference and manipulation by vested interests. Judging from his body language, President Buhari is determined to get the NDDC back on track. No doubt, the mission to sanitize the NDDC and reposition it to effectively transform the Niger Delta region has begun. History has placed the captain of uncommon transformation, Senator Godswill Akpabio, at the supervisory role of NDDC at this time. Instead of trying to pull him down, all Niger Deltans must join hands and support Senator Godswill Akpabio to enthrone transparency and good governance in the NDDC to enable it to transform the region and positively impact on the lives of the long-suffering peoples of the Niger Delta.
Inside the Niger Delta,